Have you ever wondered why the world's elites are saying that the world's population is increasing at an unsustainable rate? Is there any truth to this? And how does polymaths fit into this equation? Hi, my name is Opie. I wanted to talk about health, wealth and happiness. Well, that's what I normally talk about, but this one's about a more of a thought-provoking exercise, something that I've been thinking about for a number of years now. I wanted to share with you and hopefully we can both learn something as well. But let's get into it. So the topics I wanted to cover are polymaths, Musk, population crisis, and my hypothesis at the end. So before we start, let's get to the definition. What is a polymath? So a polymath, polymath comes from the Greek words pols, meaning many, and mathina, meaning learning or study. So if we combine these two, it's referring to a person with extensive experience or knowledge in multiple fields or multiple disciplines. Okay, so someone who knows more than the average person, like they're in the 5-10% of that field in multiple disciplines. So if we go back to history, throughout history, and if I asked you to think of a name, who would that be? Think about someone, not someone who knows one discipline and has mastered it. Of course, there's many of them, but someone who's just been out of this world that has mastered many disciplines to the top of their, career knowledge compared to everyone else. I'm waiting. All right, let's get into it. I'm not gonna wait forever, right? The first name that came to my mind was Leonardo da Vinci, right? Leonardo from Vinci. And why is he a polymath? He's a polymath because he's a master painter. We all know the paintings that he's painted. Mona Lisa, The Last Supper, The Manchurian Man, and the list goes on, right? He was a master in anatomy, engineering, architecture, mathematics, botany, physics, inventions. I mean, some of the stuff that he invented back then is still applicable today, and people are sort of trying to dissect it and learn from it. So even, 1452, that is when he was born, he lived a good life. He contributed so much, one person, to this world. Okay, and this is what it comes down to. So a polymath is not nurtured or it's born with it, but it's actually a combination too, nurture and nurture, as in innately they have it in them. For example, if I wanted to be a polymath, it's not going to happen. Most people aren't inherently have that characteristics, but if they are born with it, they can be nurtured to the point that they just end up mastering multiple disciplines. And Leonardo was one of them. Let's keep going. Benjamin Franklin, I actually didn't know. I mean, I had some idea because of the stuff that he's done, but I didn't realize he actually fell into the category of a polymath. Obviously, master at politics, science, inventions, writing, painting, philosophy, diplomacy. Not bad, right? We'll keep going. Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, was a master at law, architecture, linguistics, botany, agriculture, philosophy, invention. Pretty good, right? So he knew his stuff in multiple disciplines. Now, try and think of some modern day polymaths. Can you think of anything? Anyone? Before we get to that, let's do one more person. Okay, actually, this is the one more person that I wanted to discuss. So modern day ones, the first one that came to my mind is Nikola Tesla. He sadly wasn't appreciated in his own time. He was a Serbian-American inventor. He died by himself in his own apartment, and he had feuds with a couple of people, but what he contributed to the world was amazing. As it says here, electrical engineering. We all know he was the father of, now known as alternating current. mechanical engineering, physics, inventions and innovations, and futurism. Futurism meaning is wireless transmission of energy. I mean, that's still being discussed today, and we are working out how we can sort of use that in modern technology, radios. So all this stuff, completely beyond this time, but still within the last 100 years. Let's keep going. Who in the last 100 years comes to mind? Marie Curie or Madame Curie. Physics, chemistry, medicine, education and academia, laboratory science. I mean, she ended up winning 2 Nobel Prizes, one for physics and one for chemistry. And obviously, she's very well known for radiography and the work that she done in radiography, which is sadly why she passed away at such a young age of 66. And what's more, groundbreaking experimental methodologies that she developed in the labs itself for doing science. We'll keep going. These are the modern day ones, by the way. And then I sort of ran a query as to who are the modern day ones that are still alive, right? And this was the list that I got. And believe it or not, I didn't know most of them. I mean, I knew Noam Chomsky, I know Musk, I know Ray Kurzweil because I'm reading one of his books at the moment about AI. Yaron, I don't know how we pronounce that name. Nazim Talbot, I've heard of. But the rest of the list, I've only got 10 here, but I didn't know any of them. I mean, I've heard of Cornel West. Not too impressed with him, by the way, but that's a side topic. I don't know any of these guys, but obviously I knew Musk. But if I can, out of all of these guys and girls, I'm assuming there doesn't seem to be any women on this list, but okay. Musk came to mind, and I started sort of digging into him. And I asked the question, besides Musk, what about Branson's? What about Gates? Do they fall into the realm of the polymath category? Believe it or not, they don't, because they mastered one discipline. Okay, they were sort of efficient at others, but they didn't master. And why do I say this? So let's go down this rabbit hole of why Musk was a polymath, and he still is in modern times, because he mastered engineering, physics, business and entrepreneurship, software and computing, design and economics. All of this made him, this is not Opie saying it, this is just, I've run this through several AI algorithms, and this is what they came up with. They said the South African Canadian American businessman is considered a modern day polymath, and out of the 10 he was the most prominent one, right? So if we go down to Musk a little bit more, I want you to sort of step back and go, I don't like him. And if you're in that mindset, I want you to watch the video that I made a while ago, and I'll put a link up here. It was called Separating the Art from the Artist. Okay, so you might not like him as a person. You might not like him from his political views. You might not like him because he's got more than a dozen children. Whatever that reason might be, I encourage you to appreciate him because he's a polymath and he has actually contributed immense amount to the world, and he's still only sort of halfway through his life. But let's just touch on some of the stuff that he's actually done. So I'm going to quickly go through quickly as possible to what he's actually been able to achieve. So in his early life, he moved to Canada in 1989, attended Queen's University, then transferred to University of Pennsylvania, earned a degree in physics and economics, enrolled briefly at Stanford, and then dropped out after a couple of days. So he ended up co-founding Zip2 with his brother Kimball, and then sold it to Compaq for $307 million. Out of that, he pocketed about $22 million. Not a great deal, but this was his start. Then he ended up this is later on, he ended up starting X.com. Then X.com merged with Confinity, which was founded by Peter Thiel and Max Levchin. And then that became PayPal. And guess what? PayPal was sold to eBay for or actually I don't know the price here, but Elon made $165 million. This here is the pivotal point that changed his trajectory, because he made $165 million. Imagine if you made $165 million. What would you have done? Would you have bought an island somewhere and retired for the rest of your life? Most people would have gone down that path. He didn't. Later on he ended up purchasing X.com from PayPal in 1917 for a significant amount, which we don't know the value. But this $165 million that he got from the sale of PayPal to eBay, he ended up investing into 3 big companies. One was he put $100 million into SpaceX, knew nothing about rockets, started learning right from the ground up. And he talks about this concept of the first principles, which I'll cover in the next video. But $100 million, SpaceX, all his friends laughed at him, sent him videos of rockets blowing up going, Elon, don't do this. You're going to lose a bunch of money. Don't do this. Ended up investing $70 million into Tesla and another $10 million into Solar City. So that's all of his money gone, plus some. Okay, let's keep going. So I wanted to sort of dispel some of the issues that are going to come up going, hey, Tesla only survived because they've got government backing and government funding. So yes, during the GFC, they got a $465 million loan from the US government, US Department of Energy in 2010. But it was fully paid within 3 years, 9 years ahead of schedule with interest. Now, if you compare this to the amounts that were given to other car companies, for example, General Motors was given $50 billion. Is that billion? That is billion. And then ended up filing for bankruptcy. I didn't actually realize it was 50 billion. Chrysler, 12.5 billion, also filed for bankruptcy. Ford didn't take a bailout, but received a $5.9 billion loan from the Department of Energy program as Tesla. Okay, so that loan, I'm assuming, was paid back. I didn't bother checking. So at the moment, where does Elon sit today? So Elon's got significant portfolio of companies, most of them in the $1 billion range. So the most famous one is Tesla. Then we've got SpaceX, and more recent times Neuralink. He's also got the Boring Company, artificial intelligence company XAI, and then I think X.com, which was Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, was sold to the AI company recently. So that's 6 already. These are $1 billion companies, billions. So this is why I'm saying this guy does definitely fall into the polymath category. And he's got a few honorable mentions. Obviously, Starlink falls under the umbrella of SpaceX. And then, a Hyperloop he sort of envisioned, and it became an open source concept. And OpenAI was as well. He was a co-founder, but then came into a disagreement of how that company was run. So he sort of stepped back. Story for another day. Now, he's basically said that the world's population is in crisis mode. This is Elon. And the reason why I sort of gave all of their companies and the way he thinks, and he's a polymath, is just to let you know this guy does have some sort of credibility. He's got a reason for saying what he says. I mean, I don't think he gets everything correct, but he's gotten enough things correct to the point that he controls $6-7 billion companies. And the way he runs them, you might not agree with him, but you can't argue with the fact that they are running incredibly well in terms of how they are controlled. I mean, I know some of them are generating profit, some of them are not, but there's very few entrepreneurs that can, have that credibility behind them. So Elon's gone to the point where he's said that we're in a population crisis at the moment. Despite what the elites are saying, we are declining in population. And I'm going to show you just very shortly why this is true, and maybe that's why he's having a whole lot of children. He's trying to sort of reverse this. So if we look at the computer now, as you can see, United States, at the moment 350 mil or so. By the end of this century, they'll would have added another 70. UK, they're going to peak. They're actually going to peak in 2050, and they're going to start reducing. France, negligible, right? Negligible in terms of the population. Spain, they're going to decrease. Germany, they're going to decrease. Italy, they're going to decrease. Canada, they're going to increase, but not by too much, 14 million or so. And, Australia, they're going to increase, but I'm going to say that's because more or less because of immigration, not really because of natural fertility rates going up. India's at 1.4 billion at the moment. In 75 years' time, they're not jumping up that high. Okay? And this is the next one, China. You ready for this? China is almost going to halve. The mistake that they made with one-child policy is going to hurt them bad. And it's tragic, but their population is going to halve. They're at 1.4 billion now, more than half. They're going to project it to be 633 million. Okay? And I've put Japan here on the side. The reason being, I've always sort of understood this to be true because Japan has always been like a leading indicator in terms of economic growth, population growth and booms. So they've been declining for a number of years, and they are set to decline even further. And that's why I sort of set them to the side, because if you look at Japan, you can see where the rest of the world is heading, at least the Western world. Sure, it can be argued that some of the developing countries, because of lack of contraception and so forth, are increasing in population, but bear in mind they've got high mortality rates as well because of lack of resources, medicine, clean water, just the basic necessity we see, which is tragic obviously. So all in all, let's look at the world's population. World's population peaks at 2080, and then it starts going backwards. Okay, so then it starts going backwards. Why is this important? So here's my hypothesis. My hypothesis is, as the population grows, the chance of producing a polymath increases. Okay, as the population grows, the chance of getting a polymath increases. Let's phrase this differently so you sort of get this inherently with you. As the global population expands, the probability of polymaths emerging rises proportionally. Okay, so that's all the economic view. Next one, I'm going to say this again in a more of a philosophy way. The more minds there are in the world, the greater the chance one will master many disciplines. Okay, so as there's more people, remember, these are not all people are nurtured into being a polymath. There's an element of innate, they have to be born with it, as well as being nurtured. So that balance has to be there. So how do we make that happen? We make this happen by making sure that there's a large enough population, and for every several billion people, maybe not billion, 100 million, 10 million, a million, I don't know the number, we might get one polymath. And one polymath will do so much for humanity than 100 million men and women combined together, because they would master so many disciplines. Because the reason why polymaths are so underappreciated and under-acknowledged is because when you master several disciplines, you start connecting dots and you start putting things together that if you master one discipline, you just simply can't do, because you can't connect the dots. Once you start connecting the dots, once you become a jack of all trades but still a master at all of them, you start connecting the dots and it just becomes a beautiful thing. And they're able to see these things, see life and the world in a very unique perspective. And I mean, often people like Nikola Tesla are told to be like, abductees by aliens, or they're being gifted something by a paranormal way because of the way that they're taught, because it's just normal humans cannot think like that. That's the reason why they were sort of given that title. I hope this made sense. That was my hypothesis. I know this wasn't a sort of a tangible exercise, but it was more of a thought-provoking exercise. Let me know if you agree with me. Let me know if where I've made errors. Again, this is just me sometimes talking to myself, me pondering in the garden, walking and thinking. But I thought I'll share this with you because I think it's unique, and I wish there was other ways to get more polymaths into this world. Thank you so much. In the next video, I do want to cover the first principles thing that Musk has made famous now. So let's get into it in the next video. Thank you so much. All the best.